some people, they believe that they are newscasters, and they were revealing that Hatun has been found. They had no right to do so. They were saying that Hatun...
I'm going to have as many as Mohammed Hijab soon.
No, I know.
I'm getting high in the world.
You're just as big as Mohammed Hijab, but I'm told that in Israel he had a bomb with his name placed upon it. And have you heard about this?
No.
Yeah,
Are you serious?
Bomb. That is what my favourite journalist said.
Which journalist?
On Talk Radio.
Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan said that all of
the branches are falling from the trees. This weather is dangerous weather.
So
it's very windy here today.
Let's speak specifically about Hatun.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk opinions now. I'm going to give you...
Well, I can give you some facts as well. As well as opinions.
So, from your point of view, what information do you have that you can talk about Hatun?
Right, so there's two aspects of information that I can present as facts, that I know are facts. So the first, she has now officially been reported as a missing person, and the police and the Met Police have now fully, completely, officially reported her as a missing person, because I know there was a lot of confusion about whether she had been reported, whether she hadn't been reported. Some of that problem was because some of the individuals that were purporting to have reported her hadn't done it properly, because the process to report any missing person involves giving your own name, date of birth, address, telephone number, and some of the individuals had refused to do that. So you cannot criticise the police for not following a reasonable process. They can't just take it from anyone. So there were some individuals who failed to follow the correct procedure and refused to when told. But now that has been sorted. So she's been officially reported to the police as a missing person. So that's the first bit of information. The second bit of information is, as Jay Smith has put out on his videos, there have been emails that have been received, I believe 3 of them, purportedly from Hatun, but they were from the DCCI email account. And I've personally spoken to one of the recipients of one of those emails, which was one of the directors of Christian Concern, who I spoke to during the week. And he told me that, yes, he'd received the email, he'd read it. He believed it was from her. He said there was some of the content of the email that made him believe it was from her. So, who knows what to believe?
As you know, Steve, I cussed some of the MFs who a couple of weeks ago were cussing me in the chat because I would not discuss anything about Hatun. It had been reported by people who don't have the authority to report that she's been found. I've argued from day one, only 3 people can say that Hatun has been found. I said, number 1, it's the police. Number 2, Hatun herself. Or number 3, one of Hatun's legal representatives.
Yeah.
And I've maintained that from day one. I've also maintained from day one, because of the facts with Edward Little being convicted of terrorism, my opinion was that Hatun was in protective custody, but that's purely my opinion. What I'm really shocked at about these so-called journalists who ain't got a F-U-C-K-I-N-G clue about what they're doing, they jump to conclusions, they go on social media, they report shite, and because people, they want likes, shares, follows and views, they're reporting crap. And I cannot understand why so many, I'm going to call unintelligent assholes are listening to this stuff. I've said Hatun is missing. Until the police or Hatun says she's not, she's fucking missing. Yes or no?
Well, it's certainly the case that, she's not made any appearance at Speaker's Corner for a long time. That's not wholly unusual. That's not wholly unusual. She goes off and does her other things. That is one point. But there are those who are part of her inner circle, I could say, that come to Speaker's Corner with her, do things out of Speaker's Corner with her, who are saying they believe she's missing, who are saying that there's not been any contact with her. No reason to believe they're lying. But
I believe that. But as you know, Steve, also, I've got Hatun's number.
As have I.
As have you. And when you and I ring those numbers, do they ring? Yes or no?
Well, on that, because after our conversation the other day, I tried this. And there was a technical question here. Maybe someone that's watching you in the moment, currently, can put in the chat. When you phone her telephone as a normal telephone, it doesn't ring. When you phone her WhatsApp, and is it WhatsApp that you phoned via?
No. Initially, I rung her normal phone.
And that rang?
It would ring.
Right.
Because you know, Steve, you know me by now. I go factually.
Yeah.
It would ring, and then you will get the message telling you to go to the WhatsApp to ring
right,
that.
Right.
Yeah. Then you would ring the WhatsApp. But WhatsApp always rings, regardless.
Well, that was my technical question. You know the answer. Even if a phone is switched off and you call a number, a WhatsApp number, it still rings.
Yeah. But the point I was making initially, when this all started, I was ringing Hatun's phone, and it was ringing. Now it's not. It's going directly to the answering machine.
Yeah.
But that does not mean anything. Yeah, because I am still of the opinion that Hatun, and I'm happy to put this out there, this is my opinion, is in protective custody because of what happened with Edward Little being convicted for terrorism, and the police has a duty to protect her because now, and if you look factually, last year when Edward Little was arrested, on his way down here with money in his pocket to buy a gun, soon after that, Hatun was missing technically for about 4 or 5 months, yes or no?
Yes.
And so there's a pattern.
Well, exactly, and we've had a progression of a pattern from a punch to a knife to a gun. She is a high profile target. She's a bigger target now than she's ever been.
But also, you and I come to Speaker's Corner every single week, and I tell you about my observations. For example, that bike over there, and you know what?
I passed here during the week and it was there.
See, I told you. Yeah, there's a bike always there, and the wheels changed. Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't confirm whether the wheels changed.
I watched these things. Yeah. But the point being, we've seen a lot of patterns.
We observe stuff. Yeah.
We observe, and one thing I've observed, hence the reason I believe, and it's a belief that Hatun is in protective custody. Every time Hatun turned up at Speaker's Corner, there was mass police presence. Yes or no?
I know there were occasions where I can confirm that was the case. I don't know if it's every time, but yes.
Recently, every time Hatun was here, there's a mass police presence protecting her. So I'm going by empirical evidence.
Oh, I mean, jolly good too. We would expect and hope that, wouldn't we?
No, of course. Hence the reason I'm arguing. I only do hope that my belief, and I'm making it clear, is wrong. But because of my legal training, I argue factually.
Like you, I would surmise that there is a connection between the legal cases that have been going through in recent times and Hatun's lack of presence, shall we say.
I believe that as well. But I cannot respect those motherfuckers in the chat, and I'm going to say that, I'm not scared to say that, who were talking crap a few weeks ago, rejoicing that Hatun had been killed, kidnapped, and all kind of crap. I'm not saying everyone in the chat.
They're the lowest of the low, aren't they? What sort of scum would, even someone who you disagree with, who you don't like, who would celebrate such a moment?
No. But what? I agree with you. But if you look at the names, you can categorise most of those people. I'm not saying anything about religion. All I'm saying, if you look at the names of the people who are rejoicing, rejoicing, there's a pattern.
Well, it may. Well, I wouldn't like to make a point like this, but I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. It's probably the same idiots that were out celebrating in Kensington High Street on Monday, the 9th of October. The same idiots that were out celebrating, cheering, laughing, firing fireworks on Monday, the 9th of October.
What happened on the 9th?
Which was, well, it was 2 days after the awful Hamas
And I
attacks
was there.
in Israel.
And I filmed it.
And was there not a atmosphere of celebration?
Yes.
There was an absolute, to the core,
I'm always there.
atmosphere of celebration. Now that was less than 48 hours, or within 2 days of the Hamas attacks. Israel hadn't responded in any way, shape or form. Yet there were, I don't know what you'd predict the numbers, there was a fair few hundred, maybe 1,000? Probably around 1,000, I would say.
I would say I got there about 5 o'clock. I was there till about 9 o'clock. But let's talk about that celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what, I'm not talking about the celebrating in Kensington. Since that attack on the 7th of October, there has been a war taking place in the Middle East. Yes or no?
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion that Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. He needs to be indicted for genocide for what he is now perpetrating against.
Because what? So what's he perpetrating that you think?
And I'll tell you the because. He's telling everyone he's after Hamas. I understand. Because of what happened on the 7th, I'm just looking at a possible fight behind you. Yeah.
Not another one.
Yeah.
Same individual, same masked individual.
Yeah. But you know, I can understand that on the 7th of October, and I'm going to say it, yeah, Hamas carried out an atrocity.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't agree with it, but I can understand.
Do you know, just on that point, do you know there are individuals? I heard one online yesterday with a video recording interview who actually believes that was AI generated. Actually believes some of the footage that Hamas were filming and live streaming themselves has now been described as AI generated.
Oh my God.
You literally couldn't make it up.
There's some pranks, but I can understand why Hamas did what they did. I'm not agreeing with it. I can also understand why Israel declared war on Hamas.
Yeah.
And I can understand that.
Yeah.
You know, they're seeking recognition.
So can you not understand the methodology that they're using?
No, I can initially, yes, I did understand the methodology they were using, but it's a false methodology because what they're saying, they're going after the terrorists. They're killing
Are
the
they
terrorists.
not? You don't believe they are?
I don't believe they are.
Who do you believe they're going after?
From the evidence that I'm seeing and hearing, yeah, with all of the innocent people being killed, they've gone too far.
So do you think they are going for the children, the women?
It appears to be.
You think that's their target? You think it's indiscriminate? What's your evidence for believing it's indiscriminate?
Because over 20,000 people have died so far.
Well, to point to that, where are we getting the data from? So that's one point. Just a question.
Steve,
where's the data from?
I agree with you. Yeah, you know, Israel has the right to defend its people. I've got no problem with that.
So my first point, where's that data from? Just a question. Second point, why does a high... You just nudged the person next to him for the information of the viewers at home. Why?
Can't see.
Why? I know, that's what I'm saying. Why? Let's just accept that number. Why does the high number demonstrate that's the target, that's the aim, that's the purpose? So you're saying that their aim is genocide?
I believe.
You believe that's their aim?
I'm going to give you my belief, which is unusual. They started off on the right foot. Now, it's gone way too far. We've got the Pope, I can understand on religious grounds why he's stepping in. We've got presidents telling them you have.
Sorry, let's use the name. We've got Biden.
We got Biden.
Let's not just use the generic term presidents. We've got a demented.
Biden. We've had Biden. We've had the idiot also in France.
The idiot.
Who's the French president?
So we've got two idiots that have said
No,
it.
we have presidents plural, so it's two or more. We can chat the English language. So the point being, world leaders are now saying to Israel, you've gone too far. Let's ease back. Let's take off. Do whatever.
And what does that easing, we'll do whatever, what does that easing back look like?
No, I don't know. But it's not. Maybe a ceasefire. Maybe looking.
And what would happen in a ceasefire?
No. We've heard the bullshit that gives the Hamas the opportunity to regroup and to attack.
Well, it's not
Israel.
bullshit. That's what happens in these moments,
No,
isn't it?
but we must find a solution. At the moment, there's zero solution, and all that's going to happen is that it looks like they're going to wipe out 2 million people.
You really believe that's going to happen?
That's how I'm feeling at the moment. You know.
Well, it's a long way to go if it's
No, but
20,000.
I only wish that human beings, like me and you, Steve, we disagree, we argue, but we find common ground and there's mutual respect. I would not try to hurt even my darling here.
Your darling?
Yeah, Mrs. Mutter. So, Shalali, look, I've provoked
That's
her.
not her name. How dare you?
Shalali,
It's not
I love
nice,
her.
is it?
Please, only Muhammad is Muta Muhammad. In the whole world, Muta likes Muhammad.
Look, I need to
like
lift her up. She's not on camera.
Shalali and myself, we're going to chat in a minute because I must not call her Mutter woman
You must not.
anymore.
No.
But she can say
I will get-
Muhammad's Mutter Muhammad.
You
She
will
can
not
say
get
that.
more, my friend.
No, you should listen, sir, to what I'm saying. You should listen.
Only Muhammad likes sex.
So I hear you say
So many fights breaking out
Yeah,
today.
but let's wrap up with Hamas and what's going on in Israel.
We need to free Palestine from Hamas.
Let's agree
That's
with that.
the
Let's agree with
solution.
that.
That's the
Let's agree.
solution.
So do you
But
think it's the
therefore,
Palestinian Authority who are going to do that?
well, that's the big question, isn't it? I would like to think that the nations involved in the Abrahamic Accords will come together. So, United Emirates, Jordan, Egypt, all these countries that aren't letting any Palestinians into, by the way, I hope they will come together and form a partnership, a united group that can move things to a more hopeful, positive
What
future.
do you hope in this hopeful, positive future is going to happen within the coming weeks? Because tomorrow is Christmas. What do you hope in 2024 is going to
Well,
happen?
of course, we all want peace, but I'm not very optimistic on that. I'm not optimistic on that because there are people,
Jahannam!
maybe some on both sides, but I would say there's huge amounts on the Palestinian side who cannot consider a future with Jews present. So therefore, it's just very challenging to be anything but pessimistic on this subject.
Have you noticed that over the last 4 weeks here at Speaker's Corner, all of the big Muslim heavyweights, the Ali Dawas, the Shamsis, the Mujahid Hijabs, all of those big names, they've been missing.
I certainly have. Like you, I have noticed that. And I have to say, it's something I've noticed before. After certain world events, they all lie very low. Now,
And we're told they're in their
studios.
bullshit, they're hiding.
Quite, because let's face it, it's not good for the monetization of channels, is it? And as someone was pointing out to me earlier, get one of these Dawa channels to show you their data for their monetization. You will never get anything from any of them because this is now a money-making business for these organizations. Some of them have got their own blimmin' merch, for goodness sake. They argue amongst one another for exclusivity of certain debates. Even here in the bloody open Hyde Park Speaker's Corner, they have become money businesses now, and none of them will declare what they're making for any of it. They are no different to Tommy Robinson. It's all about the grift.
But what makes me laugh, under the Data Protection Act, we should be able to obtain that data.
Should we? No, that's not.
No,
That's not.
I'm hoping we should be able
Data protection wouldn't cover that, I can tell you.
or something, because who knows? But let's put that to one side and let's move let's move on. We're now in the Christmas period.
We are, and I thought it was supposed to be the season of goodwill to all men, but apparently it hasn't spread to Speaker's Corner yet.
But I did my great thing today. I live streamed.
You went to a carol service.
I went to a carol service. I went to St Michael's Church, and I did my good deed. And you know the good thing? I said to the minister, because the minister, I like him, and I do a lot of funerals at this church. And at the end, I said to the minister, why don't you come to Speaker's Corner? And do you know what he said? And it's from the biggest church in Wembley. Right. Do you know what he said?
Never.
No. He said,
no way.
By the end of February 2004, Reverend Stuart Melcher is coming to Speaker's Corner. Because, you know, even us speaking with people today, do we get proper religious debate going on at
or any, whether it's religious or political? I hope if he does come, he comes on a ladder and does it in the old school way.
No, Stuart is well known. He's a black guy,
right.
Yeah, and he's got the blonde, what you call it, but that's a separate issue.
So at this carol service, I didn't watch it. Was there is it gospel singing?
No,
or
it's
not?
Church of England.
Oh really?
It's Church of England. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say you can't beat a good bit of gospel music, but also you can't beat a good carol service, and I say that as an atheist.
But the point noted, but we are now approaching the season of goodwill.
Yes.
During this Christmas period, what will an atheist be doing?
Eating, drinking, and being merry.
So are you going to be waiting to 3
Because you do know most of the practices, timing, symbolism of Christmas ain't Christian.
No, of course
They're
not.
pagan, and I celebrate that.
I hear you, but will you be waiting for King Charles to speak at 3 o'clock
of course.
before you eat your Brussels sprouts?
Probably, yeah. But I'll certainly be watching him. I'm not sure about timing of dinner. Depends when I get up and when I start cooking it. Because it is quite a thing to cook a full Christmas dinner, which I do most years.
And what's your plans, Steve, for 2024 within this type of arena?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. Well, I have 1 week to decide the answer to that question. I'll tell you in the new year.
You'll tell me in the new year. So you're going to tell me what your New Year's resolution
to what extent world domination is ahead.
But Steve, as normal, all I can say is thank you very much for engaging with me. And can I be honest? I love Speaker's Corner. It's become part of my repertoire.
Yeah.
If that's a good word.
In your rich repertoire.
Yeah.